gets the ball a little bit more too. I think the Lions, at least their front seven, they'll be able to slow them down a little bit there too, just enough to win the game. The next game is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, 1-0, snuck one by against the San Diego Chargers last week, and the Houston Texans, who are 1-0, and they're 2-point favorites in this game. Brock Osweiler didn't look too bad. Lamar Miller, I think maybe kind of what the Texans were looking for, running back that doesn't get hurt. With that being said, I'm going to say the Texans win this game. They cover the spread. They win this game. I know people are high on the Kansas City Chiefs, to be contenders in the AFC West, and they did come back and beat the San Diego Chargers. But and again, there was points in that Texans game. I was kind of in and out watching that game last week that they didn't look that great. But then once they kind of got the ball rolling, it was they were playing pretty well. But I'm gonna go with just being at Texas. I have a feeling that Texas is gonna win it, and the Chiefs will be fine. Don't worry, that's not an indication the Chiefs suck. The next game, these are the afternoon games now. We do have the Seattle Seahawks 1-0 facing the Los Angeles Rams 0-1. The Seahawks are 6-point favorites. As we talked about earlier, the Seahawks, barely won the game 12-10 over the Miami Dolphins. Russell Wilson, he's had that ankle sprain. He's ready to go for this game. And then, of course, on the other side, you do have the Los Angeles Rams, who we also talked about how bad they looked last Monday night. Offensively, just looked terrible. Case Keenum, he's going to be their starting quarterback. I think now that you're going to be playing a game in, first game in Los Angeles, it's that first game back, in 20-some years, that they're not gonna be as embarrassing as they looked on Monday night. I don't think. I also think if Case Keenum does look that bad, you're putting him on a lot shorter leash than you did. I guess you had the longest leash ever. You kept him in that game last week, and that just terrible performance. Gurley, he might struggle again this week, but I think he'll be, he's going to be okay. Don't have to get totally, down. If you're owning him in fantasy, you don't have to drop him quite yet. But I'm going to say the Seahawks win this game, but also the Rams cover the spread. I think it's just a game where the Rams are going to be pumped up. It's similar to maybe what when a team opens a new stadium. And we'll get that one another game in a little bit because that's going to happen tomorrow night. But just have a feeling that that the Rams will play a lot better. They won't be as of an embarrassment as they were last Monday night, or in that sentence. The next game will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1-0 playing the Arizona Cardinals, who are 0-1. The Cardinals are 7-point favorites here. And again, the Arizona Cardinals, they lost to the Jimmy Garoppolo-led New England Patriots, but that's just something where, again, you look at the Patriots are just such a finely tuned organization that I don't think it matters what position, from the punter to the quarterback, whatever position goes down with injury, they're going to be in contention to win just about any ball game. And as far as the Cardinals, I think Bruce Arians is a good enough coach to have them bounce back. They looked at some points, and if it wasn't for maybe a botched long snap, that they would have won that game on last Sunday night. So not too worried about the Cardinals here. As far as the Buccaneers, again, they're that team that I think is ascending. We saw Jameis Winston tear it up with 4 touchdowns last week against the Falcons. But again, I don't think they're quite there yet. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals winning this game. I think they also cover the spread. Sorry, Buccaneers fans. I know your hopes are probably high after that dominating performance against the Atlanta Falcons last week, but it's going to be a little bit. The next game we have on the docket is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars 0-1 versus the San Diego Chargers, who are also 0-1. The Chargers are 3-point favorites in this game. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars, maybe partly because I did see what they had to offer last week. And again, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers kind of losing a heartbreaker last week, after seemingly just had that game in the bag versus the Kansas City Chiefs, only to lose it towards the end of the game there. And as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars, they got a pretty good defense. I think, especially with Allen out for the Chargers, I think they have a good enough defense to maybe bottleneck guys like Danny Woodhead, Melvin Gordon, in the running game. And, Phillip Rivers might get a few yards here, have a halfway decent game, but I think that Jaguars defense is probably maybe a little bit underrated. And as far as their offense is concerned too, you got Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson, the two Allens there that I think give it a pretty good combination of a dual threat receiving core there. T.J. Yeldon, that's probably going to be the weak point for him. He's had so many opportunities to even last year to be that main back. Chris Ivory is not going to be back this week either. So we'll see what happens there. But I do like the Jacksonville Jaguars to pull this one off. I think they have just enough offensive power to get this done and kind of rebound after that close game against the Packers last week. Next game is going to be the Atlanta Falcons 0-1 versus the Oakland Raiders 1-0. The Raiders are 4.5-point favorites in this game. I'm going to say in this game, I'm going to go with my Raiders, but I'm going to say they win another nail biter. They win by a field goal, so the Falcons will cover the spread in this game. And the reason I say this, you have Coleman, who looks pretty good, as far as the, receptions wise last week. He had some big plays. Julio Jones is going to be a big threat. That Raiders secondary is probably their weak point of that team. So they're going to be, the Falcons are going to be looking to attack it. But again, on the other side of the ball too, the Derek Carr led, Oakland Raiders offense, they can put points on the board too. So it's going to be like the mini shootout, I guess we can say. For the Oakland Raiders, it's not going to be maybe quite as high scoring as we will see, I think, in that Saints Giants game, but it's going to be the other mini shootout that goes on. The next game is going to be the Indianapolis Colts 0-1 versus the Denver Broncos, who are 1-0. The Broncos are 6-point favorites in that. In this game, too, Trevor Siemian, he looked okay last Thursday night. They did get that extended bye week stretch. They're going to have to maybe put a few more points on the board, or maybe I would say maybe just as much as they put last week, right around 23 to 24 points on the board. I think Siemian will be all right with that as long as C.J. Anderson can kind of keep the rock moving as well. As far as the other side of the ball, I think for the Broncos, I think if they put any heat on Andrew Luck, give him a rough time, it could be a long night for the Colts. So I'm going to say the Broncos win this, and they also cover the spread, mainly winning by defense alone. Plus, the Indianapolis Colts defense is just horrid, just terrible. That they might even make Trevor Siemian look like a above average quarterback this week. That's saying something. So the next game, the game of the week, is going to be the Green Bay Packers 1-0 versus the Minnesota Vikings 1-0. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites in this game. And really, for me being a Packer fan and not wanting to get too excited one way or the other, I really got to keep the emotions in check. Part of me, Sam Shields is out for the Packers. Xavier Rhodes is going to be out for the Vikings, so maybe that's a wash. And I can't remember the linebacker now that's out for the Vikings. It's slipping my mind. But anyway, in this game, the Vikings defense, very top 5, maybe close to top 10, close to top 5 defense. Going up the Packers offense, who I think will get a little bit more on track than they did last week as far as their rhythm is concerned. They might not put up more points, maybe not, but I think they'll maybe look a little bit better, with the eye test. And as far as the Packers defense, again, the depth not going to be there, especially with Sam Shields out. That defensive line, they didn't keep that many defensive linemen, didn't keep that many middle linebackers. They gotta do what they can do to keep Adrian Peterson in check. I know he only had 31 yards last week, but I don't really see Adrian Peterson having 2 bad weeks in a row. But I think it depends on a lot. It will depend on who starts at quarterback. I think if Sam Bradford starts, that might open up a little bit of more running lanes for Adrian Peterson, because Sam Bradford will be a little bit more of a deep threat. But Sean Hill, I think if that's the case, they will just dare them to beat him through the passing game. But I will say it's probably, in my mind, probably about a 90% chance Sam Bradford gets in this game, especially when you're opening that new stadium. You want to see that, but I'm going to say the Packers do win this game by a score of 24-13. I don't think the Vikings can maybe put up quite enough points, and I don't think they'll get as lucky as they did last week. I shouldn't say lucky. I think their defense is that good to put up any defense. Rodgers is so keen on not turning over the ball that they won't get any of those defensive points that they got last week. At least I sure as hell hope not. But I'm going to go with the Packers in that one to kind of spoil that party, to open up things in the new Viking Stadium. Plus, I guess for the Viking fans would probably agree that's just probably a fitting way to open the Viking Stadium. Probably one of the most snake-bitten franchises in all the NFL. And going to the last game here is going to be my upset special. The Philadelphia Eagles 1-0 versus the Chicago Bears 0-1. I guess I just don't have an upset special this week because I'm not going to go with it. The Bears are 3-point home favorites in this game. I like the Chicago Bears in this one. The Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz did look good last week against the Cleveland Browns, but again, that's the Cleveland Browns, people. He had 278 yards, 2 TDs. They looked all right. But I think the Chicago Bears, they get their offense going. They don't leave. They don't pull as many dumb mistakes as they did last week against a playoff contending team in the Texans. So I think the Chicago Bears get it done and they improve to 1-1. Whew. And that being said, we got about 2 minutes to go on the show here. Again, looking forward to all the exciting matchups in the NFL tomorrow. Looking forward to some of the college football games that are going on today. Getting ready to get my popcorn ready for the Michigan State Notre Dame game. Go Fighting Irish in that one, but be a lot of good games too. And again, the Oklahoma Sooners versus Ohio State as well tonight. I don't know what the Sooners chant is, but go that chant. But with that being said, you can follow us all week long on Twitter at ST920 at twitter.com, or just follow my wife because that's where our show's Twitter posts go to, and she's at Goodsie, GOODSIE 825 at twitter.com. I'm just giving my wife a plug there. And you can also follow us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/ST920. And, of course, all week long as well on our blog, and that's at sportstalk920.blogspot.com. Until next time, I'm Mike Goodman. Thank you all for listening to this week's episode of Sports Talk 920. Good day now.